Good morning, Tony Datino. We are at another Friday morning, and the days are just flying by as we're coming down to the end of August, going into September. And I look at my calendar, and we've got 4 weeks until our 24th USA Memory Championship. But as you know, I consistently am reading different science literature and research projects and things of that sort. And again, I've been talking about this probably for most of this year, the importance of social interaction. But again, this is a little crazy though. This is the Cleveland Clinic Health Advisor, and we're already getting the October 2023 issue, which is, we're not done with August yet, and I've already got the October issue. They're a little bit out in front there. I'm not going to talk about the treatment for Alzheimer's, but I am going to talk about something that kind of hides on their front page in the back that I think is extraordinarily important. And that is staying socially active to help protect your brain. And I don't think a week goes by anymore where a paper or a newsletter is highlighting the importance of social inactivity and social inactivity that is being harmful and creating loneliness and isolation and depression and just feeling like you're alone in the world. And there is nothing worse than people feeling alone. And how many studies were done in different areas of just isolating people? And I always remember doing this as an experiment a number of years ago. I was at a workshop talking about the importance of social interaction, and the instructor gave a suggestion to test it. And what he said is, the next time you go out to dinner with at least 4 or 5 people, get the 3 or 4 of you to agree to freeze out one of the people. Just ignore them. Don't talk to them. Don't address them with any conversation. If they ask any questions, just keep having the conversation wherever it was going. And give that 5 minutes, maybe 10 if you need to, but see what shows up within a relatively short period of time. What do you think happened? Well, I got the opportunity to do this. I've never done it again. In fact, I always make sure. Hello? Bye. I always make sure I include people in a conversation in one fashion or another. I may comment on something they're wearing. I may comment on their looks. I may comment on what they may be eating. I may comment on something they may be doing. I learned from that time, it's cruel. It's like torture. You can't do that to people. In a deliberate way, it's mean. And what did we learn in that? We all crave some level of communication or some level of people texting us. Today's world is texting, texting, texting. I'm still a pick up the phone guy and talk to somebody on the phone. We all go to Facebooks, we go to Instagrams, we go into TikToks or whatever. We want to connect to people, and I'm still a face-to-face person. So it was very interesting last night. A CEO of an organization here took me out for dinner. And as we were out at dinner, the server came over, and I noticed that her name was Magali, Magaly. And it was interesting because first I didn't see her badge, and she had a card to be able to get in and out of secured location. And I asked her, hey, so tell me, Magali, Magaly, that's unique. Where's that from? And before we knew it, we were hearing a fascinating story of her fleeing of Venezuela and then coming to the United States a few years ago. And I'm like, I now have her contact information, and I'm going to see if I can give her some help in finding a place to go work. But more importantly, it was the social interaction that she just so loved, that she just stood there for a few minutes. The restaurant wasn't crowded. We got there a little bit early so we wouldn't push that. And it was just a phenomenal exchange of information back and forth to a woman that is just an MBA graduate. I mean, this is a woman that's been educated. And here she is serving food in a restaurant, which then brought me to the question, how did you wind up here? And that's how I got the whole story. The stories of people's lives, it keeps us vibrant. So here we go. We're going to go back to the research. Staying socially active helps protect your brain. Now, are you interested in helping to protect your brain? This is a small activity to engage in that can make a difference. Maintaining regular social contact is widely recommended as a way to help prevent cognition, or as a way to help preserve, not prevent, preserve cognition. A recent study reinforces the importance of this advice, finding that the lack of socialization is associated with brain shrinkage. To shrink our brain. Who wants to shrink your brain? We want to keep it alive. We want to keep it active. We want to keep those thought patterns moving. We want to keep them engaged. We want to keep making new connections. We want to keep it vibrant. And so here's the research that says, my goodness, you get inactive and you become smaller. The study included 8,900 people without dementia who underwent brain scans and health assessments and were asked about their level of socialization. After accounting for factors, the researchers reported that the participants with the least social contact had lower total brain volume and lower volumes in important memory areas of the brain than their counterparts who were more socially active. Okay? Why am I doing this? I'm the founder of the USA Memory Championship. And what is this saying here? You lost volume of important areas of the brain that have an impact on memory. You worry about, we're going to worry about the drugs. So we're going to get Alzheimer's and we're going to hope we go find the drugs. When in fact, what you can be doing is maintaining, look, I'm not telling you go out and talk to 1,000 people. The research is showing 4 or 5 good friends, 10 or 15 friends, you can just say good morning to, good afternoon, or how's the dog, or how's the family, or is there anything I can do to help you? Wow. They also had smaller I got to read this well here. They also had more white matter, areas of damage in the brain, if they were more lonely. So they had damage. There was more damage to the brain, which is not a good thing. What's the take-home message? Social isolation is a major concern, particularly among, they're going to link this to adults. It is extremely important to kids, and we got to see that during the COVID lockdowns. Hugely important with teenage suicides on the rise. It's important to a number of health conditions, which start with dementia, memories, and our ability to know what's going on in the world. Cardiovascular disease. Who thinks about the things that go on in the brain having impacts on your heart, or the things that go on in your heart having impacts on your brain? This connection has been made for years. How many people are thinking about their cardio? Okay, but does that impact my brain? Or who thinks of their brain having it impact their cardio? We're one body. We're one system. You figure out what's going on in your ankle and how it connects to maybe your shoulders? Just maybe that ache in your shoulders comes from your hips or waist. Maybe it comes from your knees or your ankles. We're one system. So the things we can't see, our brain, our hearts, technology is allowing us to see that. But how about thinking that there's a connection between the heart and the brain and the heart? It's a major concern and is linked to increased risk of health conditions including dementia, cardiovascular disease, and will add depression into the pot. How would you like to be that person sitting at our table where 4 people are having a conversation and you're ignored? Your questions are ignored, nobody even looks at you, you order your food, nobody's talking to you, and see what that happens. And I would not not suggest anybody do this experiment. It's not fun. And maybe 4 people learned that night that it's not fun to isolate anyone out of a conversation. Seek out ways to interact with family and friends, in person if you can, but certainly online. Get involved with a house of worship or a local center of some community, and look for volunteering opportunities that you can help others. These are some simple tips. Family, friends, online, phone calls. I'm not a big texter, but if that's the way you've got to do it to feel connected, I think you lose some of the senses by just reading text messages. But do whatever it takes to hook up with people and be a part of a community of even 4 or 5 people. And see what difference that makes on your mental thinking, your focus, your wanting to get out of bed in the morning and just be vibrant. And let me know what comes out of that. I think you'll find that it was well worth the effort of stretching maybe out of your comfort zone and meeting other people. Well, it's Friday, it's weekend time. Our next committee meeting for the Memory Championship is on Monday at 4 o'clock, and we're in the final stages of getting prepped for September the 24th. The actual event will be on the 23rd. We'll be broadcasting that out the day after. And hope you've all got a very pleasant weekend. The weather works for you. Here in Florida, we are still in the 90-degree measures, so I'm careful about when I get to the pool, but be careful where you go and what you're doing, and we'll see you out here on Live with Tony on Monday.